What's up, you sweaty nerds and greasy degenerates? Today, we're going to be talking about Mommy Kafka. That's right, Mama Kafka. Now, I'm not going to be putting a graphic on screen, but you can go ahead and take a look at the link in the description. This is the information that was passed along to me, and if you would like, you could follow along as we take this journey talking about this character. Alright, now let's get into it.
Attached to her main ability, Kafka will be dealing lightning damage equal to 160% of Kafka's attack to a target enemy, and lightning damage equal to 60% of Kafka's attack to enemies adjacent to it. If the target enemy is currently receiving DOT, all DOTs currently placed on that enemy immediately produce damage equal to 90% of their original damage. Now, I think it should be noted, based on Kafka's main ability, and I think you guys know what I mean by main ability, aka her ability that will require skill points, and she will have access to every single one of her turns as long as you allow for it. It's very heavily reliant upon DOTs. At least, to maximize its potential, you will need to have DOTs on your team. Now, she does provide DOT, but you probably want to build her around DOT with the rest of your team. So, characters like Sampo, characters like the character that's supposed to be coming out soon called Luca. Don't forget that on the Honkai Star Rail Twitter, they announced Luca, a 4-star from the Nihility Path, and the Nihility Path is known for DOT characters, that when Kafka does release, we will have plenty of DOT characters available to us, or coming very shortly down the line. It is my prediction that Luca will release during patch 1.2, but of course, we don't actually have a released confirmation of that yet. My point being that I think people should build their teams around DOT when thinking about building Kafka. She will still be strong on electric type teams, but she will be played best on DOT teams. Let's go ahead and look at that main ability skill, at least the second part of it, really quickly one more time. If the target enemy is currently receiving DOT, all DOTs currently placed on that enemy immediately produce damage equal to 90% of their original damage. So if all the other members on your team already applied their own DOTs to that enemy, when Kafka uses her main ability, using up a skill point, she will immediately activate all of those DOTs again, dealing 90% of their original damage. Now sure, the 90% of the original damage isn't as much as the DOT damage stacks up over time, but it's still a very, very powerful effect. It's like you're hitting the enemy not just one time, but potentially like 3 times, and that's pretty darn powerful. And that doesn't account for the fact that her main ability deals damage all on its own. This is going to be a very, very powerful main ability. Now let's move forward. Kafka's most powerful ability, and I think you know what I mean when I say most powerful ability, deals lightning damage equal to 80% of Kafka's attack to all enemies, with a 100% base chance for enemies hit to become shocked and immediately take damage equal to 100% of DOT. Shock lasts for 2 turns. While shocked, enemies receive lightning DOT equal to 299% of Kafka's attack at the beginning of each turn. Now please understand that this information was passed along to me, and this information is subject to change. Not only is it subject to change, but this information likely will change before release. However, similarly to how Silverwolf had some recent changes before she was finally released, it did end up being very reminiscent of what she actually released with. So do keep that in mind, but keep in mind, as I said, this information is subject to change. Now let's talk about how talented Kafka will be. After an ally of Kafka's uses a normal attack on an enemy, Kafka immediately launches a follow-up attack and deals lightning damage equal to 120% of her attack to that enemy. with a 100% base chance of increasing the DOT damage received by the target by 20% for 2 turns. This effect can only be triggered 1 time per turn. Of course, it's only 1 time per turn. It would be absolutely busted otherwise. Anyways, now let's talk about how technical Kafka will be when you use her ability points before she enters battle, using, like I said, her different technical abilities. Immediately attacks enemies within a set range. After entering battle, she deals lightning damage equal to 50% of Kafka's attack to all enemies. In addition, each enemy has a 100% base chance to become shocked for 2 turns. While shocked, enemies receive lightning DOT equal to 182% of Kafka's attack at the beginning of each turn. Each character in the game can be leveled up, and in order to continue leveling up the character once it reaches certain thresholds, we will need to upgrade our characters. And at certain thresholds, we will receive upgrades that are very, very beneficial to the team. Let's go ahead and talk about upgrade level 2. When using her ultimate, instead of immediately receiving damage from the shock state, enemy targets will now immediately receive damage from all currently applied DOT sources. Boy oh boy, is that a powerful effect compared to what was there before. Now, sure, the shock damage is really great and everything like that, but pretty early on, once we upgrade the character to upgrade level 2, if you are playing with a team that has DOT characters on it, this will be much more powerful than the shock state damage she was applying before. So, as I have mentioned already several times, I highly recommend you consider creating a team for this character that is very DOT heavy, aka damage over time. Now let's talk about upgrade level 4. If an enemy is defeated while shocked, Kafka additionally regenerates 5 energy. This is really great for her, of course, because this will help her build up her most powerful ability much more quickly. Let's talk about upgrade level 6 now. Her talents as a character will have a 20% increased base chance to increase the DOT that the enemies receive. And her most powerful ability has a 30% increased base chance to shock enemies. This is, of course, increased percentages of damage. This is all very powerful, and it leans right into what she does as a character. This is a very strong character from what we can see so far from the information that has been passed along to us. Now, for those wealthy enough, and when I say wealthy enough, I speak of the beluga whale players of the game, who are above us peasants, us mere free-to-play players. If they're able to get duplicates of this character, they're able to pump those duplicates into the original character and upgrade their abilities even further. Let's talk about duplicate level 1. When Kafka's talent triggers a follow-up attack, there is a 100% base chance to inflict shock equivalent to that applied by her ultimate to the attacked enemy target. For targets already affected by shock caused by Kafka, the damage multiplier of their shock status is increased by 52%. That's pretty neat. Now let's go ahead and talk about duplicate level 2. When Kafka is on the field, DOT dealt by all allies is increased by 20%. Boy oh boy, have I already said it a bunch of times, but build this character around DOT if you want her to perform at her best. That means DOT characters on your team besides her. Duplicate level 3. Skill level plus 2, up to a maximum of level 15. Basic attack level plus 1, up to a maximum of level 10. Now let's talk about duplicate level 4. The duration of the increased DOT caused by her talented abilities is extended by 1 turn. This effect is stackable and can stack up to 2 times. This is again very powerful, and so far I have not seen a single duplicate level that is weak in any way, except for possibly, arguably, duplicate level 3, and that's obviously very silly of me to say. These are all very powerful. Let's talk about duplicate level 5. Her most powerful ability can now be taken to level 2, up to a maximum of level 15. And her talented abilities, level 2, can be taken up to a maximum of level 15. Now let's talk about her level 6 duplicate ability. Her most powerful ability increases the damage multiplier of shock damage dealt to enemies by 156% and extends the duration of shock by 1 turn. That is, again, a very powerful effect, and it is her final duplicate level ability. Now let's go ahead and talk about her weapon. Alright, her weapon increases the damage dealt by the wearer by 24%. After every attack initiated by the wearer's speed increases by 4.8% up to 3 stacks, with a 100% base chance of causing the attacked enemy to take 18% additional DOT damage for 1 turn. Wow, that sounds absolutely busted. This character seems like she will be really, really strong. It is at this time that I would like to point out that I am a total dumbass, and you should take everything I've ever said with a great deal of discretion. This information was passed along to me. If you would like to take a look at it, I will leave a link in the description. Now, if you want to like and subscribe to the channel, it is very helpful. We are trying to grow. Because if you don't like and subscribe,
I'm coming to your house in the middle of the night, like the boogeyman. And I'm coming for those Oreos and that lasagna you left in the refrigerator yesterday.
so if you don't want me coming to your house and stealing your snacks, consider liking and subscribing. See you later.